Hey everybody, it's Steven. Welcome back to Building from Rubble. I was watching my last two videos and, um, I was kind of working under the impression of two published videos are better than 20 planned videos. And so I just wanted to get the ball rolling, start rolling that boulder uphill, so to speak. So, um, you know, this channel, I started it because I wanted to talk about starting over, new life, that kind of thing, building a new temple from the rubble. The whole imagery I was kind of taking from Freemasonry, to be quite honest, because that is an interest of mine. And that tradition is considered Solomonic, or pertaining to Solomon, who was king when the temple was being built. And so just the imagery, the whole imagery, I don't really tend towards a Judeo-Christian mindset personally. I definitely tend more towards the Gnostic, not agnostic, but Gnostic, which is like to know, gaining personal experience with the divine. So in that Solomonic tradition, I was, and the whole, my previous video about Ida Craddock and her book, Heavenly Bridegrooms, highly recommend. But I also was, I went for a walk the other night, and I was thinking about her experience with her angelic lover, Soph, and my own personal experiences, to be quite honest. And I'll talk about those. But before that, on this walk, I was thinking about, Solomon and the tradition of, angelic lovers and such. And I was thinking about the Song of Solomon, the book in the Bible, the Song of Solomon. And I mean, come on, y'all. Is that not in the vein of this very topic that I've been contemplating lately? And it very much, it seems like a human's personal experience with a divine lover. And this is not, just something that happens in the Bible. This is, the Buddhist concept of Dakini consorts and fairy princes, in all the fairy tales. This is, there's quite a few pieces of literature. The Amber Witch is one. There's another one that escapes me at the moment. But this tradition is alive and well. And, now I'll kind of go into my own personal experience with it. As I said, I am kind of, I am a Gnostic. Perhaps an eclectic Gnostic. I do feel like we have to cut our own way through the jungle. I don't ascribe to any kind of dogmatic or fundamentalist kind of take on things. I think that kind of thing limits humans. That's my take. I don't meet very many intelligent people who tend to follow fundamentalist dogmas. I just, there are many intelligent and thoughtful people of all religions. Okay, so I just find fundamentalism of any kind, dogmatism, to be dangerous. Extremism. So my own personal experience. I do a lot of breath work, meditation. I tend to follow a Raja Yoga sort of path. Yoga, the word yoga means union. Union with what? I mean, it could be, those are some sexy poses, y'all, right? Like, let's be honest. It can be that kind of union as well, but those poses are meant to be combined with perhaps concentration, and meditation is not, as some people suppose, like emptying the mind. Like, first of all, you're not going to empty your mind. It's just not going to happen. What meditation really is focus. And the 8 limbs of yoga, yama, niyama, that part of it is very much, in my opinion, finding what works for you and does not cause disease in your thinking, in your body. It makes your pillow soft at night. And so you don't have the, your conscience bothering you, clearing off your side of the street on the daily. It's important. And finding, a way of life that works for you, and being willing to change that when new information comes along that might change and challenge your thoughts and processes and such. But the whole process, so, asana, or poses, in the meditative, Raja Yoga, those poses are meant to create ease in the body. And at first, the sort of rigid poses are uncomfortable. And so you practice it, and eventually it, some people have said, becomes like slipping into a warm bath. Like your body, it's like, and so your body gets quiet. And so you what you're trying to do is follow a sort of thread from, the grosser aspects of yourself to the ever finer aspects of yourself, the more subtle aspects of yourself. And so, you start to try to quiet the mind, and breath work can help with that. Finding something to focus on can help with that. I like to do, sort of that solar symbol, the point within the circle, like a golden version of that. I hold an image of that in my mind. It shifts shape at first and size, and but eventually, you again are focusing. And what happens is, eventually you reach this point of like hyper focus when you start to get into the like dhyana, samadhi aspect of the 8 limbs of yoga, which is, advanced. Okay. That is around the point where, I find, I don't know, I should not talk like this. I could say something like, my own personal experience is the more focused I get in meditation, keeping in mind that my goal is union with the divine, and that I do have a personal connection with that. The word Adonai means Lord, and it's like a personal Lord. And so uh, until I got the name of my personal lover, I used the word Adonai and to reference her. For me, it's her. And my personal experience is that, and Ida Craddock talks about borderland consciousness. Um, Most of my experience with my angel has been in a borderland, between wakefulness and sleep, whether I'm waking up or going to sleep or just in deep meditation. That's when I tend to have experience. I've had some physical contact. I've definitely have had some audible contact with her. One time I was doing some sexual work with a lover, a physical lover of mine at the time, who also had interest in this topic as well. And after we were done with a particularly vigorous sexual escapade, I kind of rolled over and I entered this borderland consciousness, and my consciousness literally left my body, and it shocked me. To the point where I like came to, and when I did, my consciousness returned back to my physical body with such force that it knocked the wind out of me, and like I couldn't breathe for a brief period. And those are, I consider those to be sort of, for you old timers who remember radios with the tuning dial, you're trying to find your angel's station, and, you kind of go past it, and you kind of go back the other way, and you're sort of trying to zero in on the best signal you can get with this angelic lover. And let me throw this out here. Some of the different words that have been used for this concept are genius. Many times when people have had this sort of experience, not only do they have the sort of like physical and ecstatic experiences that I've been talking about, but they also gain new knowledge and tap into like genius level consciousness, where they are like channeling, almost funneling, from the divine, fire from, what's the myth, the dude who brings fire from the gods. His name escapes me at the moment, but if you remember, feel free to answer that question in the comments. But yeah, this has just been a very, a topic that has been on my mind. It's something I'm very much trying to zero in on and focus on, because part of my personal way of getting away from the sort of escapist behaviors that I've had in the past, alcohol, cannabis, various other things, is that connection with the divine. That very much is what I believe I was chasing, what I was searching for in the bottom of the bottle, what I was searching for in the bottom of the bowl of weed, the path of the misguided mystic, man. And now I've kind of started to zero in on what I think is the actual path of the mystic. This tradition is very much alive and well in Christianity. Like I said, the Song of Solomon is mentioned. In the Catholic faith, specifically, the brides of Christ. Christ is Jesus is a mediator between, God the Father and, the church. And Jesus often talks about the mystery of marriage, and how, the church is the bride of Jesus, and and so I think that real Christianity, again, I'm not a Christian, I was raised Christian and blah, 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 but the real goal of Christianity is to have that such a deep and ecstatic union with Jesus or Christ or whatever you want to call it. It's that same thing I've been talking about. Jesus, his message of love is, something I can get behind. While I don't personally attest or ascribe to that faith, I very much live by a creed of love and tolerance. That is my code that I try to live by these days. And I do plan to talk more about this topic because it is so deep and rich, and something I personally am very much trying to focus on. So I hope you'll join me as I attempt to rebuild my temple for the indwelling of my divine lover. And I will, like I said, I'll be talking more about like Ida Craddock. She actually gives a step-by-step sort of guide. She has like 3 degrees. And I'll probably mention some other authors as well. There's another one who kind of who escapes me at the moment, but I'm sure I can find him. And I'll probably talk about that as well. But so keep coming back and join me on this journey, this reconstruction of the temple, building from rubble.